Hello, thank you for joining me. I want to talk a little bit about YouTube and me. Again, it's one of the things that was suggested when I asked for ideas for the 1000 video. I did say that I would use some of the others as well, and this is one of those. I began about 3 years ago with YouTube, just posting videos about my hypnobirthing. And probably around the time that my website sadly demised, then I began to do a little bit more posting. And it was always about things that I knew about, and that has always continued. But I gradually developed and started going out walking and taking my camera along with me and ensuring that I didn't trip or get stuck on a stile or get chased by a cow, all of which nearly happened many, many times. And it was aimed largely at people that weren't able to get out and about. And I was able to take the Cheshire countryside to them. And that gave me great pleasure. It also meant that I got out and about as well. And I never felt lonely on those walks because I was always talking to the camera, but to the people beyond the camera, and explaining what I was seeing, what I was hearing, what I was feeling. And then I started to expand from there and talk about, again, things that I understand, and that basically was down to my years of teaching, of my years of being a counsellor in both voluntary and private practice, and again my hypnobirthing and hypnofertility work. So that gave me a wide range of things to cover. And I started including bits of poetry and things because I love poetry, and also if it backed up what I was going to say or just went side by side with what I was going to say. And on the 1st of May 2024, I read a poem by a young lady called Cassie Phillips, Let Them, Just Let Them. And I added on to the end of the poem my thoughts and feelings, because this was a strategy that I had been using for over 20 years with clients, especially with those in the voluntary work where I was working with survivors of all forms of abuse. The poem fitted very well there because these clients very often found it hard to let go of the person, of the feelings, because they had been so controlled. The abuser had been so coercive that they felt trapped and that there was no way out. But ensuring that there was, and letting them understand this and letting them go, letting them let the abuser go, and then working on erasing the memories as well. And lo and behold, this video went zooming off. And I just don't know why. It obviously resonated and still does resonate with a lot of people. I had a message from my granddaughter saying, "Grandma, do you realise that your video is appearing on Instagram and on TikTok?" They weren't put there by me, so they were obviously copied there many, many, many times, which I still find very annoying. Yes, some did acknowledge the source, but mostly didn't. That's life, I suppose. And my friend and myself had arranged to go out for a meal to celebrate the fact that I was heading for 500 subscribers. And by the time we had the meal, it was over 1,000 and kept on and on. So from there on, I did more recordings on mental health issues, on issues that affect so very many of us, emotional well-being, also throwing in strategies to help counteract these. And it sort of went on from there. The viewing numbers for the walks diminished, even when I used the walk as a background and turned the camera on me and spoke about the same things that I speak about if I'm static. There's an out so queer as folk, and I just keep on including those walking ones because I know that there are people that benefit from them. So I'm not going to stop. And the actual process, sometimes it runs smoothly. I just talk to the camera as if I'm talking to people. Only on a handful of occasions have I had little notes, just keywords. But if I've got anything factual involving numbers, then I have to have those jotted down because I cannot remember numbers. So that is the only thing that I have written down. Obviously, if I'm reading somebody's poem, that's written down. I always give credit when I have used other people's work. That to me is vital, especially as people haven't given me the same courtesy. But on we go, and the recording, that's the pleasant bit. Then I obviously have to listen back to it. And I've never been one for listening to myself doing anything, saying anything. But I do. Having said that, I don't know why I do, because I don't alter anything. And I've only ever had to record a couple of times, and that's when I started coughing and sneezing in the middle of a video, and you didn't want to see me spluttering everywhere. And so it continues, the loading up to my laptop. I never feel comfortable until I've transferred from my camera to my laptop, and then getting it onto YouTube. And that can be a process of 9-10 minutes up to half an hour or more. And I can never remember when the best times are. And then the things that change on YouTube. I'm not somebody who is completely au fait with IT. I know what I know, and that's it. But I have found that the help people or AI folk are supportive, and they usually manage to help me, although the last one wasn't able to. I was trying to find out why I hadn't got a button to allow me to see the leaders charts in Hyping. And they said, oh no, you have to use that on a live feed. But nowhere does that say anything about that. Maybe it's just me. And I do get a lot from the postings. It then takes me a long time to go through all of the videos, and it's not just the current ones, it's the past ones. If there are new comments coming in there, I go through those. And some of those comments I wouldn't have been able to reply to if I hadn't been a qualified counsellor. In some, I very much read between the lines. And others, I just feel like saying, oh, for goodness sake, get on with it and grow up. I don't, though, but that might be what I have felt on a couple of occasions. So that is how it goes. I don't know how long I'll keep going. I didn't think I would still be doing it on the 1,000th approach of the 1,000th video. I don't think I'll make 2,000. I suppose the next aim would be 500,000 subscribers. I know I will never make 1 million subscribers, but and that's the next thing that you get a presentation for. And I really felt so proud when I received my award for having achieved the 1,000. We will see. Things slow down and then they speed up again. I'll keep plodding on. And that's it. That's me and YouTube. But if you're thinking of having a go, have a go. But decide what you're going to focus on. Okay, I did swing the changes as I went along. See if it's a market that's already saturated. I see that there have been more older people coming on recently. But also make sure that it's something that you know what you're talking about, that it's something you've worked with or fully understand. On that note, I understand that I need a cup of tea, and I will say thank you. Thank you for joining me, and do keep pressing those like, hype, if you've got it in your country, and subscriber buttons. The one thing that annoys me I'd forgotten to say was that I can never see what you see. I only ever have my page, and it doesn't have the same features, and I find that most annoying. So I have had friends send me screenshots of things I wanted to know about. On that note, thank you for joining me, and all the best if you are thinking of starting a channel. Nothing to lose. Nothing at all to lose. Take care. Thank you for joining me. Bye for now. Bye.